morning, afternoon, and evening to our listeners across the globe, and welcome to another episode of In12D. Today is life unscripted, simply going with the flow, and with me is my co-host in sunny Spain, Suzi. How
Hey
is your
Ramzi.
vacation?
Oh my God, I'm in northern Spain and I was expecting to be walking along the Camino and being in the rain a little bit and maybe some cold and a little bit of wind. And it's now like 30 degrees. It's exceptionally hot. So, needless to say, I'm not walking the Camino today.
Let's see. Life brought you a different plan.
Exactly. Hence the title for today's episode. It's all about living unscripted, you know. You
Yeah.
can plan and plan. And I found it really hard to make this plan, I'll be honest. Like it was hard to get the information and bookings and stuff like that. So I had to kind of keep adapting. And I thought that, okay, I have a plan now when I get here. I have some routes I'm going to do. And then the weather just decided to be exceptionally hot. So I was like, okay, keep adapting, keep adapting. So whatever is happening, I think the weather keeps us in the flow because it can tell you 1 minute that you're going and the next minute you're not, you know, unless you want to get scorchioed, of course. What's it like where you are?
Hot too. Hot. But going to the plan, I like what you were saying. Like life just gave you a new reason to go to the beach. In my case, if you recall, a year and a half ago, we were all in England up north and talking about my project being about healthy drinks and herbal drinks, actually, not healthy drinks. And I put a plan together. The plan was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to. And I spoke to people over there. We're going to do testing, get the flavors correct, see what people like, and so on and so forth. Well, we started a project a year and a half ago, and then almost, I would say less than a year, I had to change. It just wasn't right. It wasn't
Yeah.
right because see, we put the plan together, and then I said, okay, now we need to do taste testing. So I started to send products out to different people, different places in the world, and I started to get like negative feedbacks of people not wanting to try it, people not feeling that this is the right thing to do. I don't know, multiple excuses. And then I said, okay, fine. It's just ain't working. I just have to put it aside and try to do something else. And from the something else came about this like chocolate. And they go, okay, I know nothing about chocolate. Let me tell you, I just learned a few things now. And so we switched from healthy drinks to chocolates. And I said, okay,
There you
let's make it
go.
healthy chocolates. And then it started to move and move. And without a plan, it's just like almost guided on every step to get to where I am today, which I found it like extremely uh, from a strict financial person of finance, to don't have anything in writing, to be straightforward, to take a path is unrealistic. But now, now being in the flow of things and allowing things to take me to places, I find it actually uh, less damaging to my mental health. I
Well,
don't have to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, that's what I was going to just ask you. You know, when your plan starts to fall apart, like mine did over here, you know, are you in a panic mode or are you pausing and going, okay, what's this really trying to show me? Like how do you respond when your plan is evolving
Well,
very rapidly?
on the old time when my drinks didn't work out, what I did, I panicked. Let's just face it. I panicked a bit
Mm,
and didn't know what to do. And I said, no, 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 no. I am doing something wrong. So I have to change the way I bring the product to the people. And I
yeah,
did that, and I was kind of forcing my way into that sector, and it kept on failing. And that's when I said, okay, fine. It's not like I give up. but I just let go. I said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It might not be the right time for it, and let's see what comes up.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's finding being in that moment present, where you're like, okay, I've got to really let go, holding tightly to a particular product or outcome or whatever strategy you're at. As I didn't go walking, I found myself on the beach, and I had this package which involved some yoga, which I love. And then it was like with surfing, and I was like, well, maybe the weather will be terrible and I won't be doing the surfing, you know. But the weather is like perfect for surfing, and honestly, it's so warm. You're grateful to be in the sea. So, but again, it's kind of like surfing had really at this age showed me something whereby I was getting rigid in the water because I was like, I don't know which wave to choose. You're watching, you're like, okay, have I enough time to get set up, and the guys were just like the instructors, they were like, just take this one, just take this one. And I'm like, it's like all the buses are passing and I'm afraid to get on one of the buses. So they're like, Suzi, just go for it, And I was like, what am I afraid of? So definitely when you're in the sea and you're navigating surf, you don't know whether you've got the right wave. You just don't know. And like I'm not like an avid surfer here. I'm really much a beginner, but even that was really showing me a lot in terms of like just letting go, and it's okay if you fall off the board, you know? It's okay if the board hits you on the head. It's okay if you drink about a pint of seawater, which I did. So yeah, it kind of helped me to loosen up a lot. Like, so yeah. Do you find that when you let go of the plan that it often turns out better than you expected?
Well, actually, not at the moment, no. But
No,
later
okay.
on, at the moment, it's like, dear Lord, I failed. I failed. Here it goes again. And of course, negative thoughts always comes up. It creeps out of like little places. But then when you stop, and I'm gonna stress this out, although I don't do it enough. When you stop to meditate a bit and just slow your mind and just let things go. Okay,
Mm,
don't attach yourself to anything. Allow things to just flow through your head and out, and just be in a serene space. You find your answers. You do
mm.
find your answers. So like it's like trying to pick a wave is not the right thing, but closing your eyes and just jumping on one, that's the right one for you. And that's what
Yeah.
happens with the plants, is that if you just let go and close your eyes, open your mind, and allow things to flow, you'll find yourself like moving into a right direction. All of a sudden, I found, when it came to the chocolate, I don't know where to go, and then I found a person that can design boxes, for example, and
Hmm.
uh, and the young guy is new at this, but he's really good at it. So cost was affordable, design was beautiful. He even, like, we went from just designing boxes to giving me an identity to the product.
Mm.
And I know that you had and I'm sorry I missed that episode with Yamilka, episode 43, when you talked about the brand.
Yeah.
the you need an identity to the brand in order to hold it with you and be able to um, portray it to other people. So all that happened without me knowing about it. It just happened. So just allowing things to flow is, I believe, is the right thing to do. And with my experience, it was just like phenomenal. Now looking back at it, but
That's really cool.
but but when it failed at the beginning, it wasn't that cool at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like, I think when I was drinking the pint of seawater, I was like, oh my God, am I kidding myself here? Like, seriously? But that was day one. Then I did again day two. And they're like, hey, you came back. And I was like, yeah. And it was a bit harder the second day doing the surfing, I have to say. So I was like, oh man, I'm a bit nervous today because the waves just seem bigger, And they're like, oh, it's okay. And I think it was the people around me were very relaxed. So they gave me permission to be more relaxed. And I think like you working with somebody who's good at, creating your brand identity and creating the boxes and what you need, it just shows you we don't have to know all of it. Like I don't have to be a
No,
surf expert to go out on the water. You don't have to be a brand expert to start a business or to develop a product. So I think that's another big learning I've had, let the experts do what they're good at. Because like
hmm,
I wouldn't know, I didn't know, and they were like, "This is the one. You take this wave. You take this wave," or they'd say, "Hey, we need to move from here. Here isn't good anymore. Let's move over there." And like I would not have that experience. There's no way I would know what I'm doing. So it's about letting go, trusting the expert. I think to take you some of the way as well. That's a big
absolutely,
part. Yeah.
absolutely. And one of the things is because I'm not a surfer, but when you're surfing, you can't be rigid on the board. You have to be flexible with the wave.
Mm.
That's how life is all about. I think we have to be flexible with everything that we do, and that's why when we talked about a plan before, I find it's good to have a focus
Yeah.
and a very loose plan along the way, because with the loose plan you can adapt and mold certain things into your new plan,
Mm.
rather than having it very, very rigid, whereby I really want red color, and then when red color comes out to be a bit purplish,
Yeah.
and you look at it and you go, my God, this is the actual color that I want. Let it drop the red. But if I was very rigid on it, then the designer or the printer will not accept this color. They'll
Yeah.
say, no, 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 it is red. And when you give a spectrum within the color, then they can choose whatever fits nicely for the visual effect of the box, if it fits nicely on one spectrum or the other or in the middle. So I found it really interesting, because if your plan is like this, then it's easy to move right and left and continue on a path, as long as you have your goal visualized within your mind.
Yeah, I think like sometimes what you think would be a good color, like you're just not a color expert. So
No.
you do need the experience of somebody that you're paying, and you need to listen to what they say too. Like my surf instructor, I have to listen to him. I do not know any better, and then I said to him, he said, whenever you have enough, you must tell me. I'm having a break now. So I was like, I've had enough. I need a break. And every now and then I would take kind of 5 minutes and just really arrive where I was like. So I think taking a break is really important too when you're going with the flow. Going
Hmm.
with the flow does not mean moving continuously. It like it can speed up, it can slow down. Like I know for you, things took a lot of time at certain stages of the development, and you just have to find patience then, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Patience is the key, and letting go is the biggest key. Unattachment, detachment, all of it should come into play all at once. See,
Yeah.
I had to travel a lot, and so I took my product with me and I gave it to people. I'll tell you, my chocolate have reached China, Portugal,
Wow.
uh, UK, uh, what do you call it? Ireland, England, sorry, Canada, and the US. It literally went everywhere. Actually, it went. Yeah, it did go to Lebanon too. So, uh, and
That's
France,
pretty cool. Wow.
and every feedback that I got from everybody, it was good, bad, or ugly. It didn't matter. The feedback was a feedback, and I used that to reshape the plan again.
Yeah.
So that allowing, because once I move out from the work environment, then I'm like traveling. So it's not in my head what I have to do, because now I'm focused on something else. Then it allows for information to come in from various sources and accepting them as is, and then looking at the bigger picture and go, oh yeah, that makes sense, that makes
Yeah.
sense. You know,
That's
a
cool.
cousin of mine goes, you know, you have to use monk sugar, or is it? Yeah, I think something like that. It's bloody expensive, that thing. But I go, okay, fine. I understand there's a segment of the population that would love to have that, which means that that should be a product on its own at a later date. But right now, what I have is just fine. You know, organic
Hmm.
coconut sugar is just as good as other sugar, I believe. And then we'll leave a new product to emerge at a later
Mm.
date with different sugars that people, I don't want to say need, but they prefer actually to have it in
Yeah.
their chocolate.
Well, it's a good way to do your product development because it's across multiple continents and cultures and,
Yeah.
you know, different taste profiles and different preferences. So that makes sense, you know. So, yeah. How bad, Ramsey? How good, even, you know? So, I have a question here. So, what helps you stay open rather than resistance, you know, being resistant, let's say, when things are shifting? So if you're asked about the sugar, you know, how do you manage to kind of stay in that flow? Because
Yeah.
obviously sometimes we're committing to something like, and for you it's the recipe, and then,
Yeah.
you know, if you have to change that or whatever, what does that feel like? What keeps you open?
Well, what kept me open is my experience. One, at the beginning, I went with every request:
Yeah.
white sugar, cane sugar, this sugar, that sugar, do it this way, do it that way. And I go, oh my God, people know it more than I do, which is true because I know nothing about chocolate. So I started to do different things. And then I realized that I'm lost.
Mm,
But where's my focus? What is my focus? So when I realized what the focus is to provide very high quality chocolate with high quality sugar. Instead of using white sugar, I chose organic coconut sugar. I
mm-hmm.
said, okay, fine. Since I'm using the high end of cacao from one region of Peru and high end coconut sugar and merge them together and I have a perfect product, I stop here. And
Yeah.
that's when I started to take notes. And I see, like I mentioned, like the monk sugar or some other sugar. Like people from Canada, they prefer maple sugar, which is okay.
Okay.
This is good, you know. But I can't have maple sugar or right now. That's a new product. So I started to jot down everybody's taste because or preferences, and I jotted them down. And I go, okay, fine. There's an evolution to the product. So product stage one would be this. It's done.
Yeah.
You know, finalize it, get it out. Once you start to sell, then you can say, okay, fine. Now I can add additional products to the line that I have. And the additional products would be, for example, maple sugar.
Yeah.
I can create something new and add maple sugar, and it'll be something a new completely product. And I think that's where I started to realize it's like, okay, take the information that you're receiving, but don't act on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel
You
into
know,
it.
so have a base. That's my base, and then from there I change. I add.
Yeah.
I won't change. I would actually add to it, and that's the new plan. Although it's not a plan, it's not written down, and it's not carved in a stone, so that we can't change it anymore. But it is what I work with. It's kind of my standard now.
Good. It's such a learning curve, like, you know, I was thinking about spontaneity. Spontaneity is that ability just to feel the yes and say yes, or equally to feel the no and say, you know, not right now. You know, not right now is
Mm.
just as spontaneous as yeah, definitely, you know, because when I showed up for surfing on my third day, which is today, they were like, hey, you came back. And I was like, yeah, again, I didn't really want to go, honestly. I was feeling the resistance and I was like, oh God. But my body was just kind of getting ready to go. And suddenly I'm halfway down to the beach and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going. Whereas my mind was definitely trying to come up with an excuse not to go. And I thought, well, I'll see what the sea is like. And if it's a bit wild today, I won't go. But they were like, oh, the conditions are perfect today. But what I did notice in terms of spontaneity, I was more relaxed today than I had been for the other 2 days. And they were familiar. Everybody knows my name now. I'm familiar with everything, so they sort of left me, not that they left me on my own completely, but they were keeping an eye on me, and when they thought I needed a bit of encouragement, they were like, come on, Suzi, come on, go a bit further out or whatever. And yeah, I think spontaneity is there in every moment of the flow, but sometimes it's again like saying, my spontaneous action now is a no. My spontaneous action now is a yes, So I'm glad that I kind of found that flow this morning, because it was such a hot day. Like, it was the only way to start the day. I would have had a miserable day if I had not been in the ocean. That's what I realized, because I was able to really kind of enjoy not being in the shade, like to cool down, because I had like 2 hours of just frolicking in the waves, which was good fun. So yeah, I think spontaneity it can be a yes or a no. That's my view anyway.
Well, as you know, I actually recorded the episode 44 last week, called it unattachment, attachments, and detachments.
Yeah.
As I went live, something happened. I lost my chain of thought, and although I had certain things written, I went off script and lost everything. Anyways, I managed to close the episode. It had no beginning, no what do you call it? A proper ending to it. There's no impact. I said, no, it's useless. I just take it out and I removed the video, which is fine.
Yeah.
That unattachment, or not putting too much emotional value to something that we do,
yeah,
it makes it easier to be able to change. So I did an episode. It was, I can call it horrible. I did it. It was like total
Don't
flop.
be so hard.
And I looked at it and I said, okay, fine, I did it. It's done. It's over. Can't take it back. All is beautiful. So now take it and put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
When you do something like that, you'll be able to adapt to new things that comes towards you.
Yeah.
So
you're training flexibility. Like, you really are training creativity, flexibility. Yeah. Sometimes you have it, and sometimes it's like,
And you're also accepting change. You're accepting change. You never surfed before. I don't know if you did, but
about 15 years ago.
Oh,
not
okay.
very
So you
successfully.
didn't. So it's.
I think I did it for my 40th birthday or something. I remember saying, "Yeah, that'll be a great thing," and we did it. Like, we had a lot of, but it was in Ireland. I don't know. Like, this was spontaneous. I was planning on walking parts of the Camino. Like, that's why I was coming here. So I just thought, if I was supposed to be walking the Camino, I had the accommodation would have opened up. The weather would have cooled down, all those pieces would have come together. And so I like to be able to kind of tune into what's showing up, what's presenting itself, and saying, oh yeah, I can adapt to this. And I like that sort of kind of creativity, like that you can change your plan very easily, like without being kind of feeling hard done by, or like, oh, I've come all this way. I met a guy, actually. I was at the Guggenheim gallery. It's in Bilbao. It's really cool. It was a bucket list thing I always wanted to do. But I was talking to somebody there who had come to do the Camino. They were coming from Sweden. And he said, oh, the French way was so busy. There was just too many people. So he changed from the French way and he came further north. And at the time when I came here first, the weather was horrendous. It was raining and it was real stormy. And then so he changed, to a new route, and it was raining and stormy. And he was kind of fighting with everything, like, you know what I mean? His system seemed really exhausted from his own kind of battling. And He said, I think I come back in a couple of months with my wife, and we'll just go with a group so that there's less choice. You know what I mean? If you're with the group. So I was like, oh yeah, I can see how sometimes being just flexible can really serve you, like, especially when you meet somebody who's really struggling with flexibility. And what I was going to ask you, Ramzi, is flexibility more about being a pushover, like giving up very easily, or is there intelligence in that flexibility? Like, is it more intuitive, or how would you kind of rate those? Being a pushover, just giving in, I'm a bit of a giver in our house. So.
That question is bloody deep. I don't find flexibility to be a pushover.
Okay.
I really don't. Okay. Let me start again. When you are adapting to new situations, okay, you basically let go of old habits or old way of doing things, and adapting to new ways of doing things. Now, if that becomes a habit itself, then you're not focused on your end result. But if that happens along the way and you see a value in it, then it means that you are on the right track and you have to change with whatever is coming towards you. If you constantly change, it means you're not certain with what you're doing.
Yeah, you're waiting for somebody else to lead you or guide you or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I started with the chocolates, I was going everywhere. Oh, let me do this, let me do that. I can create the world. But the reality is that's not what my focus is. So if after going on a wide spectrum of different things, we can make cakes and do this and do that. And then I just re-narrowed it back down into one thing, which is, what is my main focus over here? Chocolate. Now, I can add multiple things to it. It has to be organic. It has to be healthy. I can add these things to it. But the main focus is a chocolate. It's a product.
Yeah.
As I'm moving towards the product, I have the flexibility to change to make sure that the product that comes out at the end of the day is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, well, it's aligned with you. Like, I think it's about being in alignment with what you're creating. When you're in a creative flow, there's you, and there's the kind of unseen element. There's the kind of, that spiritual kind of essence of the thing, or the product, or the place, or whatever. And so I think there's a sort of a, giving and receiving, like coming together, like, yeah. I feel like there's a lot in terms of detachment from a particular outcome. You know what I mean? It has to be a bright red box. It has to be this Camino, going this direction and doing this number of miles or kilometers every day. So like, how did I end up coming up here in the first place? Is because I'm training for the pilgrimage to Tibet in September. So I thought, oh, what better place to train for the pilgrimage than to go to the Camino in Spain and train up there. I thought real consistent effort. If I can do X amount of miles every day, I'll be in really good shape for the Mount Kailash pilgrimage with the group in September. But what I was learning in the surf today was, you know what? There's so many things going on in the world right now, particularly, in the Middle East and so on. And I don't know whether we'll get there. Like, I still don't really know whether that travel will take place. So I can only live in this moment. I can only live for like right now, or even this weekend or something. But kind of working towards what's going to happen in September when you're, creating something like a pilgrimage. The pilgrimage will happen when you're ready for the pilgrimage to happen. That's what I believe. So it's really, that letting go is about finding trust too, like trusting there's a middle way, there's a path unfolding, and don't get caught up in whether it's taking in Santiago de Compostela or whether it's taking me to the beach, you know. I think I'm learning something from all of them. Like, so, yeah. I was
Oh,
going to
that's an
say,
amazing example.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And, you know, the other event that I've started working on before I left, and again, it was very spontaneous, was I was invited to create a wellness cruise, you know, going to Norway. And I was like, "Oh, right." And this is new for me, you know. Cruising is new. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's see what happens. So again, it's kind of like, you know, if you're sitting at a bus stop and you think the bus number is 204, 204, I've got to look out for 204. And all the other buses are coming your way, like, and you're like, no, not looking up until it's 204. You could be missing a lot of buses here, like, you know. So like when I get in the bus around this area, I don't even know where the bus is going when I get on. Half the time I'm like hoping and praying that it goes somewhere near where I think I have to be, like, you know. So yeah, I think that the cruise to Norway is a bit like that. I didn't see that coming and I thought, well, maybe it's coming because maybe when Kailash gets pushed out for a couple of months. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, did you read any of my the PDF I sent you about the cruise?
Yes, I thought it was very interesting. Like I mentioned, is for me, it's like, okay, it's during my birthday, which is awesome.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
in
forgot
October,
that.
yes. Yeah, it's an October thing. Um and But I don't know where I'm gonna be with my product. Am I gonna be running around selling at that time? Uh, is there any major event that is happening that I need to be at to promote it? I don't know. But that doesn't mean that I just say, okay, no, I'm not going to the thing. What I did, I kept it on the side of my mind. And I thought that
Mm.
would be an interesting, at least the first thing I thought of is that, oh my gosh, you finally got me to sit down and meditate. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Really? Yeah, yeah.
and and I go, okay, fine, she wins. But that wasn't the idea. But the idea is that it's still there. I think it's an excellent event to especially to go up north to Norway at that time
Yeah.
and to see the serene what do you call it, environment over there, the beauty of it, and to be able to meditate. This is just I think it's a wonderful combination. When I saw it, I was like with a big smile actually. I go,
Oh,
wow,
good.
that's just yes, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think the reason I brought it up is I think it's a really good example of kind of going with the flow and living unscripted, because I was on a phone call about Tibet, you know, and then I got passed on to somebody else and they were like, "Hey, I wanted to talk to you. Would you be interested in organizing a cruise, like a wellness cruise?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe, you know." And I said, let me do some research. I need to know a bit more about it. And they were like, well, where would you like to go? And I said, well, there's only one place I would go. And it was, I have this, it's been coming to me for about 2 years. And I went to Norway, I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe it was three now. But when I went, I was on land and I went to beyond the kind of Arctic Circle. You know, I went very, very far north and I saw the Northern Lights and the Aurora Borealis and all of that. But when I was watching the sea in the fjords, it is so deep and dark and still. I was just like, it just, I don't know, it really speaks to me, the nature there. And I kept saying, wow, I have to come back here and come by sea at some point. So it was easy for me in that moment of spontaneity to say, yeah, I could definitely do that because it really aligns with, you know, going deep within ourselves, going into that kind of stillness, you know, the quiet and the kind of spaciousness. And that's what I've been meditating on for this whole time that I've been in Spain. Actually, it's those three qualities, you know, silence, uh, spontaneity, well, not spontaneity, but more like spaciousness, like a just arriving into this kind of expanded awareness, let's call it spaciousness, and then just being really, really still, following the breath. Or, I was thinking about that, and I thought, what more do you need on a cruise? Those are the three qualities, and if you can kind of really work with those every day when you're there, in a group setting as well, I think it's really conducive to when you're not in meditation and say you're getting on and off the boat or the ship on an excursion, you can really start to merge more with your environment. Like the environment starts to inform us a little bit more, I think. So I have a feeling that it'll deliver a lot more than the average cruise would, because of that deepening of our spiritual practice of meditation, let's say. And you don't have to be like a regular meditator to do this. Like 5 minutes of those qualities will make a difference, even, I know I'm hounding on about meditation again, so I have to be careful. But yeah,
No,
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 I'm
no.
I'm I'm converted. Let's just say I really am kind of converted. I really feel like,
But
yeah,
part of part of part of personal uh, success journey, or journey of success, or I don't know how to word this, is to embody what you do.
yeah,
At the end of the day, it becomes you. And
true,
if you're not one with what you're doing, then you can't succeed, or you won't be able to move it forward.
true.
Like
You have to do it.
yesterday, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted him. Yesterday, I went to see someone, and he gave me a goes, "Oh my God, you have to see this Dubai chocolate. It's amazing." And I go, "Oh, okay, I'm willing to see and taste and whatever it is." And I opened the wrapper, and then immediately, it's just like immediately I knew it wasn't done properly. Then
Wow.
I got the chocolate close to my nose. I have to smell it. And I go, okay, well, this is not a high quality chocolate. It
Mm.
wasn't tempered properly. So the stages that it went through until you received it was not like, chocolate is very delicate. So you have to follow certain processes to get it right at the end. I said, and they were
Yeah,
not followed. And that's why you see this, you see this, you see this, and the smell is not, this type of chocolate is actually more of a hybrid type of cacao, which is very
yeah.
cheap. And I finish and I go, oh my God, I know all of this. And all I did is just look at the product and smell it. So once you embody what you do,
Yeah.
it becomes you. You become one with what you're doing. So you become successful, and you'll be able to easily speak about it.
True. That
You know,
is
I,
so true.
I can never sit down and talk about meditation, and I actually enjoy every time you bring it up, because there's something new that you say that kind of like flicks in my head, and I go, oh wow, this is like you're talking about the depth of the ocean, and I go, wow, yeah, I never thought of it this way. And it's just like, you hold all this information because you are become part of it, and that's what makes you successful in meditation.
And likewise with the chocolate, I love that you were in that kind of engagement with somebody, showing the bar, and your expertise is beginning to show through. It's like, I suppose, being a wine taster or cheese connoisseur or whatever. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no, not tempered properly. Oh, maybe this could be a bit more or less or whatever. And that's really good. It just goes to show that you're really coming into kind of alignment with your product, with the process, with the right ingredients. I think
Hmm.
like that's when, the word cruise doesn't normally go alongside meditation, for me anyway. I was
No.
thinking when she said cruise, I was thinking like, oh,
Food.
Caribbean cocktails, I don't know, party, I don't know, disco.
Food
And
and
and then
drinks.
I did some research, and the funny thing was my friend who was it's actually my cousin who had proposed it. When we had the next call, the second call that we had, I said, okay, I did have a look. I had a look, and she said, oh, so did I. And she and I had both arrived. Like there are a gazillion that I could have found, you know, a gazillion, and so, her too. And I said, no, this one really feels like the right one. And I had the dates, and I said, I think this is the date. And she went, oh my God, Suzi, that's exactly what I have written down here. The same one, same date. She said it's a lot of like string quartets, and it's beautiful china, and it, you know, it's a different sort of experience, you know. And I was like, yeah, yeah, you know. So it's kind of like your preparedness or your experience is meeting the opportunity. Like we literally met halfway, and it was an easy yes for me. It was easy yes for her, you know. So I think that's what's happening, is kind of everything that you're sort of leaning into is starting to meet you halfway with the opportunities. Like, so I have another one here that we are going to look at for this episode. How does conscious evolution support spontaneous living? It's a kind of 12D angle, living in 12D. So we're living in 12D in a conscious evolution. But does that actual kind of conscious evolution support us with the living more spontaneously?
Okay. Constant evolution is, well, I'll say what I got out of it immediately is that the only constant in the universe is change.
True. Yeah.
So once we start to embody change and accept it, and then allow the change to consciously guide us to do certain things. For example, I was consciously or unconsciously, I don't know how to describe this, but guided to go see one printer.
Yeah.
This is it, you know, and my partner found the address and everything, and he goes, it's over here. And what happened is that we went there, we took an appointment, and we went there, and the store number, let's assume it's 204A, but you know, you're going and you're not looking at stuff, and we go into 204. And there was a lady over there. Okay, so it's a lady again, and she was explaining things and how she's gonna do the boxes and how they do the cutting, and you know, it's her job. And there is something in me that was just getting annoyed at the whole process.
Oh, wow.
Completely. Okay. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? And I was trying to control myself and trying to listen and engage with the thing. And I said, okay, thank you at the end. And we walked away, and there was something just not settling in. And I go, I don't know what happened. I am going to contact that person myself. So I contacted the person again. And I said, give me your address. I'm coming to see you. And she sent me the address. And I drove over there. It's the same building. I walked up the same stairs, and I go, it's on the right, not on the left. But we went to the left one 2 days ago.
Oh my God.
And I went to the right, and the lady is from is it Catalan? There's a northern region of Spain. I think it's Catalan.
Catalan, yeah.
Yeah. So she looks at me, and she only speaks Spanish, and she doesn't speak anything else. So she goes, where are you from? I said, Lebanon. And she starts to laugh, and she goes, terroristas. We're both terrorists. And we laughed about it. And, you know, we had this connecting moment of being both of us terrorists and so on. And it was a joke.
I can join that crew as well, actually.
Yes. And that was it. Everything was so smooth afterwards. So smooth. She said, for what you're doing right now, this is the boxes that you need. A high-end chocolate place is using these boxes. He paid for the design. I'll just change the thing, and I'll give them to you, no problem. And I printed the boxes, and I took them as a start, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful flow. And then I wanted to do something else. She goes, no, I'm not doing shit for you. Oh, excuse my language. She goes, call this guy, and this is the person that's going to create everything for you. And I said, okay, fine. So I called Paul, and Paul is a designer, and he kind of built it from the ground up together. And it took a long time. I wasn't expecting that long time to be there, but I allowed it to flow, because there's certain things you can't control. So the allowing consciousness to take you spaces without having to stop and think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I hope I answered the question, but that's the experience that I got. But because consciousness has a plan for us.
Yeah.
In a
And
way.
you're able to be more spontaneous because you're allowing the extra piece of the puzzle, which is the consciousness, the kind of unknown, to present
Yes.
a completely alternative way, like take the left turn instead of the right or whatever. Like, so yeah. I think that's maybe Norway for me as well. Like, I'm working towards Tibet. It may or may not happen this year. I can't even say for now. People are signed up. We're going. We're preparing as if we're going. Norway just floated in like out of the blue. And, you know, I haven't even fully put it out there yet. And, you know, a lot of people have already signed on to come with me. So I do believe that conscious evolution, like we've been planting seeds of our conscious evolution for decades. Like some of the seeds that are probably sprouting and fruiting now, we planted maybe during COVID or something. You know what I mean? I think like travel, teach, transform has always been like my thing. These 3 T's. And so when I see what's happening and I'm saying yes and I'm being spontaneous, I can say, oh yeah, well that does keep within my TTT. You know, the travel, teach, transform kind of, which really came very clearly to me many years ago. Like, so yeah, I think conscious evolution is a sort of embracing that spontaneity, living on life unscripted, you know, like this
Yeah.
podcast, unscripted.
But let me take you to something you said earlier. You said you were in Norway, you went there, you saw the beauty of nature, and I think that was the point where you planted your seed, is that I want to come back over here.
Definitely. Definitely.
And although it took you a couple of years, whatever the time frame, time is not important, because it requires whatever time it requires. And then it brought you back into that direction and said, Suzi, here it is. You gained something from being there. There's something that awakened within you, and you were able to easily, verbalize it and bring it out to people and say, here, this is why we're going there. And that's why there and meditation kind of like hand in hand, they work together.
And you know, I think that's what I recognize too, for sure. And even getting the messages and emails from people that are coming, they said, like 1 or 2 people said, oh, this has been on my bucket list, or I'm really drawn, I really want to see the Northern Lights, or, you know, my ancestry goes back to, you know, the Scandinavian countries, or, you know, people have all different reasons, but there's some part is speaking to that reason for them, and then it's a fit and it's a yes, you know what I mean? So watch this space. I'm in the middle of kind of getting all of these kind of offerings lined up in my new version of my website. It's on the old website now, but the new version is being created as we speak, which I'm excited about.
Awesome.
What would you say is a key takeaway from our chat today, Ramzi, for you? Any key takeaways?
A lot of key takeaways. Takeaways. Okay. 2 burgers, please. No, that's not it.
Unscripted.
Unscripted. God. First of all, shout out to Michelle Marie. She joined us now in the chat. Thank you for being with us. You can see her at Astrological Tarot. Just a shout out for her. We've been friends for such a long time, and one of the things is that when you allow life to take you places, it actually kind of like cements you in the right space for you to grow on a personal stuff. So back to the things that I took from today's conversation. One of them is that not to be rigid with your plan, because there's another plan close to your plan that's kind of merges and moves away from it, and you have to allow for those changes to happen along the way, because these are the changes that will actually help you succeed with your life or with your project or whatever it is you're trying to do. And rigidity kind of like closes doors. It's like you mentioned, which way should I take? Well, you can sit and watch all the waves till the end of the day, and you won't take any of them, and you'll miss all the good ones and all the bad ones. It's just like that. So
that's true.
Yeah, allowing and let it be totally unscripted and just flow with it is a key takeaway over here.
Yeah, I hear you. They're good key takeaways for sure. I think for me as well, it's kind of just even in chatting about this, it doesn't matter what area of life we're talking about, whether it's on your vacation or whether it's in your personal life or whether it's in your career or your professional life or there's room for spontaneity in all aspects of life. And I truly, like, I know every week I think I bring it back to meditation, because it's the one practice that has supported me throughout the last kind of 15, 16 years. So when I feel like I've become kind of off center, or like, I'm trying to find the board, I'm paddling, and I'm trying to find my way out of the water in the waves or whatever, when you're a bit shaken up. Meditation is my way. Like, it's kind of like at the beach, I took the board in, when I had drank too much water. I was like, okay, I need a break now. But I could sit and I could become very mindful in that moment. I really was just like, wow, gratitude. What a beautiful place to be. What an amazing group of guys, these instructors, And these other kids I was doing it with, they were really lovely French kids, and I enjoyed hanging out with them. And, there was so much to be kind of grateful for. So meditation and mindfulness practices can really bring me back in the moment, especially when I could have been sitting there thinking I nearly drowned, but I didn't nearly drown. I could stand off, but when you're in the water and you're like swallowing it all, like the wave came and just like took me away like for a second. But it's that ability to get stable, to get still, to get on terra firma, back on the sand.
Okay.
And finding that kind of cohesion within myself again. And then when I could feel that I was all aligned, I was like, okay, let's go again, pick up the board, in I go, So yeah, I think that's a key takeaway for me, for sure, that even if you're getting kind of tossed around in the waves, take a moment, take 5 and come back in. Yeah, that's it. I think we're close to wrapping up, are we?
Yeah, and one thing just before we leave is that when you have a setback, like in the example that you gave on a snowboard, on a surfboard, excuse me, you fell, right? You fell in the water, you drank water. You can either sit there and hold yourself in that space as like, oh my God, I'm gonna die and I can't get on the board and nothing is gonna work out. Or you can say, oh, that was a great experience. Seawater is not good for drinking. Let me get on the board again and try to balance it and just move forward with it.
Absolutely. And what I did notice today on this day, like, I don't think I can go tomorrow because it's kind of cutting it a bit fine for my departure. But today I definitely felt a little bit more confidence, because I thought, when I go back, maybe I'll do some more of it. I have wetsuits, I have access. I live right by a beach where they do surfing all the time. So I thought, what, maybe I'll just go more frequently now during the summer months. Because I could feel that with a couple more days, a couple more weeks, it takes time. Like that's what the guys kept saying to me. They said, Suzi, it takes time. It takes time. You know, you have to, you know, get used to it. And they were like, they at the end today, they were really nice guys. They said, today officially we give you A plus, you know, for being courageous. And I was just like, oh, pretending. And then I bought them all a beer. So yeah. But they, you know, it's nice to meet people who are really good at something, that are willing to show you. As much as I love to, like, if they were up for meditation, I'd have totally been up for that too. But like, we didn't talk about that. But yeah, I think finding, you know, what you're really good at and sharing that with other people and giving them an opportunity to try something, you know, it's great. It's a really good opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So what it says here is one small thing that our listeners can try this week to go more with the flow. So for me, it's definitely a bit of mindfulness or meditation, or try something that makes you scared, you know, and uncomfortable, and give it a go. What would you say, Rams?
Give it a go. Listen, my life was all about moving since the age of 9. I went from Lebanon, we went to live in Syria, then we went to live in Kuwait, then I went to live in England, then I went back to Lebanon, then I went to England. So all these things are bloody scary. Let me tell you, carrying a suitcase and $500 in your pocket and going to Canada, a place you've never been before and you know nothing about, is scary.
Yeah.
But 30 odd years later, I survived it. I survived the cold, and I was able to survive, like, in general. So we shouldn't allow circumstances that happen within our life to dictate how we move. And I like this quote over here from Michelle: "Everything that drowned me taught me how to swim." IN12D, which is like amazing. So if there's anything, any takeaway, is this thing from, I don't know who she is, IN12D, but I guess she's a writer or something. It's just like awesome, explaining life in a simple sentence.
Yeah.
And with that, Suzi, thank you for joining us from sunny Spain, and Michelle, thank you for joining us from sunny, I hope it's sunny, Mexico. And from sunny, partly cloudy Lima, I thank you all for being here with us. And hopefully we'll see you next Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock UK time. I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, please do that, just in case you forgot about it.
Spotify.